Here's the folks. Here it is. The story I talked about, folks, in the previous video. In the other video I did on Jink and crime, the guardian angels, the vigilante group who attack a migrant. Here's the rest of the. This is what I'm talking about, folks. I'll let it play. I'm gonna let it play out more, or maybe all of it in our comment later or after.
One of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th.
Can you pan the camera?
They've taken
Actually, I'm gonna go in. I'll stop it whenever he says something outrageous.
over. They've taken over. He is out of control.
And in Jink, that is.
Out of control.
Holy shit.
All right, now.
He's beating up the guy, folks. Like beating up migrants. A migrant. Allegedly it's shoplifting. Well, it's not really a migrant, but she's gonna just explain.
That was Sean Hannity's interview with Curtis Sliwa.
Curtis Sliwa.
You just say it real quick so
Yeah,
people don't
Sliwa.
know that you're mispronouncing it. Okay, great.
Okay.
Founder of the crime prevention vigilante group, the Guardian Angels, which has been around for literally decades, and we'll get to their history in just a minute. Now, they've been active in New York's surging migrant crisis, and during that live interview on Fox News, members of his group accosted who they alleged was a shoplifting illegal immigrant. Now, it turns out that wasn't the case. All right, so after Fox showed the group restraining the man, Sliwa went back to give an update on the situation, so let's take a look at that.
Well, he had been shoplifting first. The Guardian Angels spotted him, stopped him. He resisted, and let's just say we gave him a little pain compliance. His mother back in Venezuela felt the vibrations. He's sucking concrete. The cops scraped him off the asphalt. He's on his way to...
Yeah, I agree. Guy in the comments says the bigots. Yeah, this guy is a bigot. He's right. I think they're right, folks. I think this guy, although these people are black and brown people in the group, I think the leader himself is a bigot. I don't know if this guy didn't he ran for office one time. I don't know, but I agree. The guy in the comment section, in the chat, actually no, in the chat, the guy in the other video I did said these bigots. This guy definitely is a bigot.
jail.
Now, he claimed on Wednesday that the incident started when the man hit a female guardian angel, prompting the group to initiate a citizen's arrest. Now, luckily, the group's members are unarmed, so there was no potential threat of anyone dying from a gunshot wound here. But Sliwa said during the Fox News broadcast that the man was a migrant who had been shoplifting. He told NBC News that he based that information on what people in the crowd said and alleged that the man had a backpack that contained baby clothes with tags on them. He also said he had believed the man was a migrant because he had been speaking Spanish.
Oops.
Okay, and because other guardian angels had encountered him with other Spanish speakers on previous patrols. I don't know if they know this.
Wow.
This is a diverse country with people who speak all sorts of languages. It doesn't automatically mean that the person speaking a foreign language is an undocumented immigrant. But anyway, according to...
This is pure xenophobia there, folks. Definitely.
A New York Police Department spokesperson, officers arrived to find a man detained by bystanders after he allegedly tried to disrupt a live interview. Police said the man had been issued a disorderly conduct summons because he had been acting in a loud and threatening manner on a public sidewalk. But what the police clarified was that the man in question was not, in fact, a migrant. He was a New Yorker who's been residing in the Bronx. Plus, they provided no evidence that he had shoplifted. Unsurprisingly, Sean Hannity had issued absolutely no apology for this mistake. There's no correction, despite Sliwa's claims being shot down by law enforcement. Asked about airing the confrontation live during Hannity's show, and Sliwa's claim without proof that the man had been restrained, that the man that had been restrained was a migrant. Fox News said in a statement that the situation took place during a live television broadcast and that the network had updated its audience as more information became available from the NYPD.
When?
And Silwa, for his part, says that it is possible he wasn't a migrant. Or, yeah, is it possible he wasn't a migrant? Of course, after he was asked about the situation.
Oops.
And finally, New York Governor Kathy Hochul condemned the Guardian Angel's actions. Let's just take a look at what she had to say and we'll move on.
You cannot take the law into your own hands. You know, NYPD, among the finest on this planet, they work hard every single day and we support them. It is their responsibility to take care of this, not individuals. And so I reject the premise that anyone can take the law in their own hands. Then we have chaos. This is not the Wild West. This is New York State.
So, look, what the Guardian Angels did here was wrong. You shouldn't profile people and you shouldn't take what the allegations are against others at face value. Maybe do a little bit of investigation before you decide to physically...
It's not more like a clown show. So it feels like it looks like but these guys, I used to like these guys. But he's gonna explain the history of them.
Attack people who have been accused of wrongdoing.
So I have two totally different thoughts on this. One is, of course, like these morons, their evidence was he was speaking Spanish. Same exact thing Marjorie Taylor Greene said when she thought she had spotted an illegal immigrant. Really? I mean, I'm so stunned by how stupid people are. You think everyone who speaks
dumbass
Spanish is an illegal immigrant?
Yeah.
It's just so dumb. It's painful to talk about. Okay, now, having said this, why do the Guardian Angels exist? So they started all the way back in 1979. When I was growing up in the New York area in the 1980s, they were in the news 24/7, and I remember watching that all the time, right? And so the reason was because back then there was crazy crime. If you think crime is bad now, it was totally out of control.
Yep. And the 80s was really bad, folks, with crime. One of the worst eras in the US. It was really bad. And these guys, it seems like it seems like a good idea, believe it or not. I mean, it seems like to me back then, I was young back then. And I think, all right, these guys look interesting. I heard them in the news. And yeah, maybe it's that bad. That's crazy. And the cops are corrupt. Like, they're overwhelmed. They're corrupt anyways. They're not solving the crime. When they still are not doing anything now. So yeah, maybe it's a good idea to have these guys. I mean, seems like back then, I mean, the concept of, yeah. I guess a lot of people agree with them too, probably back then. But now that I think about it, these guys, any vigilantes, it is kind of bad. The idea of a vigilante. I mean, you know what I mean?
Control of the 70s and 80s, okay?
Especially in US when they have guns. I mean.
Don't worry, we're working on it.
Let's go back a little bit.
So.
They went too far.
She thought she had spotted an illegal immigrant. Really? I mean, I'm so stunned by how stupid people are. You think everyone who speaks Spanish is an illegal immigrant? It's just so dumb. It's painful to talk about. Okay, now, having said this, why do the Guardian Angels exist? So they started all the way back in 1979. When I was growing up in the New York area in the 1980s, they were in the news 24/7, and I remember watching that all the time, right? And so the reason was because back then there was crazy crime. If you think crime is bad now, it was totally out of control in the 70s.
Crime is bad now. Crime is not bad now. Oh my God, it's bad, but it's not bad like you think it is. I mean, crime is going down, folks. It's bullshit. Violent crime is. The guy in the chat says New York City. I showed it in the other video, folks. New York City, crime in New York City is down by every metric, so he's bullshit. Every metric. That means even violent crime is down. By every metric, violent crime is down. See? And they call the guy a bigot. The guy in the chat called it the group of what they call them bigots. The one guy is a bigot, the leader of the group. He looks like a bigot. That guy in the Guardian, what's his name? Well, I agree. I looked a couple of months ago. I looked I should look at it, 2023 actually. The stats were shown, and it was last summer. The crime is down. Violent crime is maybe high, it's up, but it's going down, and that it rised up from the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, crime rose. That's what happened. So crime was still very low actually. The crime got really low. Actually, crime was the lowest. 80s was high. In the 90s, the crime went way low. The crime rate actually went way low. Even in the 2000s. In the 2000s, crime was low. I don't know if it was the lowest point in the U.S. I think there's a low point in that. I read something. The lowest point might be in the 2010s. The crime rate was low, the lowest part, I think. In the 2000s, so it really went low. But started in the 90s. Actually, crime in the early 90s, it really dropped, started to go down. And it's still relatively low. It's always low, it fluctuates, but when it went up, it started going up after the pandemic. So that's what happened. Now it's kind of going down, it's leveling off. So it's bullshit, but rampant crime.
These and 80s, okay?
Don't worry, we're working on it, Jay.
Yeah, I know, we're getting.
Yeah, crime is, we're working on it, really. You bullshit, you're working on the propaganda for the police state. I mean.
Oh, so the guardian angels rose up because
some
whether
cases
you
in
like it or not,
California.
whenever there's a lot of crime, vigilantes come in to fill the void. Now, vigilantes are a terrible idea because they make dumbass mistakes like this and they don't know what they're doing and they're not trained and they create more violence, create even more work for the cops, okay? But having said that, the guardian angels never went away. It's just after the 1980s, no one cared about them anymore because crime had started to go down. And it went down so substantially that everybody forgot about Curtis Lewa and the guardian angels. But
What's his name? Curtis Lewa. That's what his name is. I think he ran for the office. I'm not sure. Didn't he pretty sure ran for mayor or something. The last mayoral or Senate.
now they're back.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back because crime is back. It's not that they went away, it's that their coverage went away and their need.
So crime is back, really. Crime is not back as you think it is. They've always been there. They're not really back because what happened. But nobody noticed this bullshit. Nobody noticed these guys until this happened. So it's bullshit what he's talking. Not because of crime. They're back because of crime. Because of this propaganda with the migrant. That's why they're back. I mean, it's bullshit. With the migrant thing. Because of crime itself.
Perceived need for them went away. But now people feel a perceived need again. So hence, that's why they're out and doing things like this. So the answer to vigilante...
Yeah, but they're just attacking migrants, really. Although it seems like. Attacking migrants. Really? That's what it seems like, they're harassing around migrants. It's not really because of crime, is it? So that's the guy in the chat was right. He said these guys are bigots. You don't hear them anything else. And he said, and the guy mentioned, you hear he says from Venezuela, probably from Venezuela. Oh, beat up this guy and he's from Venezuela. See? So the really was what the migrant crisis. That's what really maybe brought them out more. So it's bullshit. It's not because of the crime, because of what the migrant thing. The migrants. That's why they're out there. I mean, they're more active actually. They're still out there. Seems like they're more active because of the migrant. Not because of the rise of crime. That's what it seems like.
Violence is better, you could argue more, and just law enforcement. So if you have law enforcement that actually does its job.
So better or more law enforcement. Did you get the police budgets? Look, they're talking about it last week. Leftist Mafia, Mike Ferrigolo. I think his name is something like that, Mike Ferrigolo. And what's his name? And even Lance talking about it. In New York City, they get budgets, police budget. Every year they get a big budget, police budget. They're one of the biggest police budgets in the U.S. I mean, these guys, it's amazing. And there's not enough cops. You seeing that there's not enough cops, and they get a big police budget.
And prosecutors who do their job, and they keep the population safe, and they do it in a way that is just, then you don't need vigilantes at all. That's the whole point of law enforcement, is to do that job, right? But when citizens...
What does it mean by just? It's not beating up people, I guess. No. I guess fair. Justice for all. Locking up the criminals. And protecting the peace. If there's any peace. Maybe.
Feel like they're not getting that from cops and prosecutors. Vigilantes will rise whether you like it or not, and that's what you're seeing, and that's why this is happening.
So I wanted to learn more about this guy because I'm completely unfamiliar with him, and I agree with you that vigilante groups can actually make situations more dangerous. You know, their whole objective might come from a good place, it might start from a good place, but it ends up causing more harm than good, especially when, you know, they're not trained as law enforcement, and more importantly, in the example we gave you in this story, they just profiled the guy, right?
Yeah.
And just assumed that he was an undocumented immigrant who was engaging in crime when there was no evidence of that. But I went back and came across a 1981 Washington Post piece on the Guardian Angels, and I thought it was really fascinating. So Joyce Wadler at the time wrote that the group is the Guardian Angels. I can't believe this. They number over 700 in New York City, with groups spreading across the country. Their avowed goal, in the words of their leader, 26-year-old Curtis Sliwa, is to bring back the values of 40, 50 years ago, when the only criminals in the streets were racketeers. I mean, I don't want them either, but...
Yeah, back then...
40, 50 years ago, this guy's an unhinged idiot. Unhinged bigot, that guy is. Totally wacko. This guy's a wacko, man. Nut job. I mean, and these guys go along with this. They believe this to be, I don't know, these guys, again, a terrible take on crime. I mean, disgusting. Advocating for the police state. I mean, it's too much. TYT, so-called left, progressive leftist. This is not a leftist channel anymore, folks. Definitely, it's not going to be a leftist channel. They keep going down this path.
There was a significant mob. I don't know if that was the good old days.
No, seriously. When you could leave the house with the door open or fall asleep on the roof. But here, get a load of this. Mayor Edward Koch appointed his criminal justice coordinator to investigate the Guardian Angels.
Edward Koch without a racist. Best in peace, though. I shouldn't say that. He's terrible, Ed Koch.
And that report was so positive that the guardian angels will soon be awarded some sort of official status.
Oops. So that was way back in the
81.
day. Yeah.
81.
And by the way, since then, in the 80s, after 81, they did a bunch of clownish things.
Yeah.
So they're not the good guys.
Idiot.
But again,
Thank you for
whether
admit-
it's organized groups
Thank you for admitting that. They're not the good guys.
or much more prevalent will be just local vigilantes that go, I've had enough of this crap because the cops aren't showing up in LA, New York, San Francisco, etc.
And why is that? They get a lot of police budget, big police budgets in New York. Well, San Francisco, I don't know. They did something with the budget. I'm not sure, but New York for sure, and LA, they made big police budgets. And why are they not showing up? Because they're quitting the force. Because they get catch feelings. Because of the being called out. Because of the corruption. I mean, harassing people, killing people. I mean, so they're not gonna do it. They don't do anything, and that's why. Didn't they really solve crimes? I mean, these cops nowadays, do they really? They don't really solve crimes. I mean, there's so many, like people, like all these movies and cop and TV series, propaganda. I mean, that's the problem. And they think that they solve crimes, and they don't. I mean, so they're advocating these guys advocate for the police state. And I guess they want more cops. I mean, and I think this should be more cops if warranted. I mean, it shouldn't be like too many cops. I mean, in New York City, there's a lot of cops. I mean, nowadays, the police budget, there should be enough cops. They have the biggest police budget. And they got a large police budget. Someone was saying last year, every time they get one of the largest police budgets in the country, New York police. I mean, and there's not enough cops there. Oh my God. Well, there's not enough freaking cops in New York. That's crazy. It's crazy, folks. There's a big police budget.
And if they do, prosecutors are letting people off. So
Prosecutors letting people off. Prosecutors, I mean judges. I mean, it's the prosecutor's fault. They're letting the people off. But that's not even happening. Where is that? A few cities, a few random cases, they happen actually, but that's not happening, folks. That's bullshit. Like you say, it is garbage. I think in California, there's some random cases that the prosecutor, he let them off, or they have lighter case, he let them off, lighter sentences. I think he's talking about a few cases last year, and with the bail, he never even mentioned the judges, but he said prosecutors let them off. Really, it's not happening, folks. It's not bullshit. I don't know what you think it is. Like some random cases that happen. I mean, you know why they're doing it too? Because they're overcrowded prisons. That's one other factor. They do let them off. The dumbasses like you. Want the prison state. That's another thing. You want a more police state? So they want more people in jail. You gotta build more prisons then. I guess they're advocating for the police state. I mean, to Mr. Jink. I mean, just terrible, man. It's crazy, folks. Like some of the left, him and Jeff Destiny, and it's like Destiny agrees with Carl Wittenhouse. So does Anna. Yeah, he's a right to defend himself, but to go over state line, so he's looking to shoot somebody. So. But that's what their mindset is. He's not like that. He disagrees with Whitner. But that's what their mindset is. Anna and him. About crime. they could justify that. More of a police state. I mean, and they don't really care. They do really care about minorities. Crime and I don't think they really do, folks. It's bullshit. Some of these white leftists, they say this. They don't really care about minorities. Talk about, I mean.
You can get super mad about it, but you'll see more vigilantes going forward. That's just
Where
of
I could want to bet
how
about it.
things work when crime is not addressed.
Yeah.
Crime is not addressed. I can get mad about it. We're not getting mad about it. We're getting ridiculous. I mean, you're getting ridiculous about it. We're getting really, it's laughable that we're laughing about it, and we're really perplexed about it. That you think that this is a big deal, crime. Crime is a big deal. Crime is a big deal. And no one's getting mad, but they're saying that this is you seem absurd. That's what it seems like. I mean, and just because and maybe some people are getting mad. Maybe that's what he's talking about on Twitter. Because they're advocating for the police state. I mean, some of these people, you said they're getting mad. They're victim of the police. How about that, Jink? Maybe these people are getting mad at you. Some on the left, who actually you experience the police. I know that you said there are those who want more police. That is true. Some blacks, the 25% black people in New York City want more cops. And RBN Nick was saying that it's who are these people who say that? They're kind of, he called out those people. He said they're unhinged and they're not like they don't have any logic. I mean, that's what they're saying. Somebody's saying something like that. I shouldn't say that. I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. They're not thinking straight. They're not critical thinking. They're not big thinkers. Not critical think. They aren't doing any critical thinking. You've seen about them. Some of these people in the polls just want more cops. And he's saying that some of these people are maybe, they're not really, they're different class too. The more upper class PMC types who want more cops. If you look at people in the hood, you did it today, I don't think they want more police. Any hood. Do they have a poll? I mean, you poll these people, black people in the hood, would they want more cops? Like somebody, instead of the poll in general in New York City, I think, they said they were African black people, they polled them, they said they want 25% want more cops. Or is it 50? I think it's 50, 25 to 50, I think. But actually, it was all black. It was mostly like upper class PMC types. It probably was. Middle class was in the hood, poor neighborhoods. Be a different story, I think. See, most of it the PMC class, the bourgeois class. They want more cops, police state. But anyway, this is I'm gonna get off this.
All right, we gotta take a break.
He said so that's it, folks. That's the other video. And this when I went too long with this. Stupid is crazy. No one's getting mad. It's just too bad, man. It's gone disappointing having these bad takes. And I don't know if they really left this channel progressive. Really? I don't think so, folks. just kind of a, they're more like a Joe Scarborough type channel to me. Like MSNBC. They'll come in more like MSNBC, believe it or not. And now before, she was advocating, she was saying, now they're advocating for third parties. Before they were against it. They're talking about vote shaming. But now they were doing the exact same thing a year ago. Vote shaming. Anyways, folks, I went too long with this. I'm out.